Hello, welcome to Train Signal. This is the Managing Management Packs lesson in the System Center Operations Manager 2012 training course. Let's talk a little bit about what management packs actually are. When you first install Operations Manager, it's just a framework. It doesn't know anything, and I've mentioned that before, and I want to make sure I stress that. And as you saw in previous lessons, there's still some open circles we've got to resolve. Operations Manager looks at these areas and says, yeah, I know there's something there, but I really don't know what. It's only once you start deploying management packs that Operations Manager starts to get its brains. The business goals associated with deploying management packs are numerous, but here's three primary ones. It allows you to extend Operations Manager monitoring to all mission-critical IT services, to ensure that the business services remain available and healthy, and you have the ability to tune monitoring parameters to meet organization-specific needs. Not every organization is the same, as you well know. They all have different business goals. They all have different technology goals. Operations Manager provides you with the ability to granularly modify how things operate in order to be able to match operational needs with your business. Now let's talk about Operations Manager from a baseline perspective. The first thing you need to understand is that there's something called the default management pack. This is an unsealed management pack that was imported during installation. Because it's unsealed, it can be modified. In fact, this used to be, by default, the location to which all changes to management packs, called overrides, were made. But that method created a number of heartaches for Operations Manager administrators. So in Operations Manager 2012, you would have to manually and intentionally select the default management pack as a target for overrides and other changes. You're going to find this management pack stored at the location you see on your screen. From a best practices perspective, it's highly recommended that you not store management pack customizations to the default management pack. And again, Operations Manager 2012 makes it easy to adhere to this best practice because it no longer targets the default management pack by default for overrides. You can actually tell it, create a separate management pack for overrides for a particular management pack. In fact, here's what I like to do. For every management pack, let's say I install the Windows Core OS management pack, I like to actually create a overrides management pack that corresponds to that management pack. So if I override one of the monitors in the Windows Core OS management pack, I like to save that override to a Windows Core OS overrides management pack. So I have a one-to-one scenario between management pack and override management pack. This makes it very easy later on if I need to delete or upgrade or otherwise modify a management pack. During installation of Operations Manager, dozens of management packs were installed, and we're going to go take a look at those right now in the Operations Manager console. And we are back over at the Operations Manager console now, and as you can see, I've gone to Administration, and I've selected Management Packs from the Administration navigation area. You're going to see a whole lot of management packs over here already installed. Now, I do want to tell you that some of these are not just the ones that came with the system. I have installed a few additional management packs for other demos in this course, but generally we can identify the ones I've installed by the version number. So I'm going to sort by version. And the ones that are version 6 are intended for older versions of Operations Manager, but work with Operations Manager 2012. And they serve specific needs in my lab environment. But I'm going to scroll down until we hit the version 7 management packs. And as you can see, we have management packs entitled things like System Center Internal Library, the Data Warehouse Library, SNMP Library. These are a lot of library management packs. These are the foundational management packs that allow other management packs that you install in Operations Manager to be able to work their magic. And there's a whole lot of them that are actually installed as a part of your installation. Now, one of the things that I want to mention here is things like discovery. So, we have an internal management pack for network discovery. One of the things to bear in mind is every time you do things like a discovery, for example, a Windows Server network discovery, which you've already done in this course, all of the capability that resides in that discovery process was imbued upon Operations Manager because of this management pack. If these foundational management packs were not installed, Operations Manager would not work, because these management packs instruct Operations Manager even in its most basic functions. So when we did the discovery process earlier to add systems to Operations Manager, it was using the Windows Server Network Discovery Management Pack. Later in this course, you'll use a Network Discovery internal management pack to locate network devices. So it's important to understand that these foundational management packs are critically important to the health and well-being of Operations Manager. And you got to see how I did a search up here too. By typing the word discovery, I was able to narrow down the list of management packs that are returned. Because you can get so many management packs installed in Operations Manager, having the ability to be able to narrow that list is pretty important. And if you select the management pack and choose properties, you can get some information about that management pack, including its ID, name, version, and a description. You can see it says it contains discovery rules to set the properties of discovered network adapters. So this is actually going to help with the discovery of network adapters on Windows servers. When it comes to deploying management packs, there's some really important things you should understand with regard to deploying new management packs in your environment. First of all, you have to carefully plan your management pack deployment strategy. Don't just throw management packs at Operations Manager. You know, there's a tendency, as soon as you get the agents installed out onto servers in the environment, to just start downloading and deploying a dozen or two management packs. Well, don't do that. And the reason is because every management pack needs time to be able to make discoveries about all of the objects that are out in the environment to discover, manage, and monitor. But at the same time, you have to have time to be able to tune each management pack to your organization's specific needs. So make sure that you don't just throw management packs out there. Take a strategic approach to deploying management packs. You know, say start with the Windows Server Core OS, then move on to Active Directory, then move on to Windows File Services, things like that. Think about every service as a container, and then as you deploy that management pack, finish deploying it before you move on. And also, make sure you review the freely available management packs. There's a ton of them, and you're going to see that soon in this course, just how many management packs there are out there. And also, for other needs, consider for-pay management packs. There are a number of those out on the market, and you will see one of those in action in this course. We will be managing vSphere with the Veeam NWorks management pack, which is a for-pay management pack that adds to Operations Manager the ability to monitor VMware environments. Deploy one management pack at a time, or one set of management packs at a time. Now, doing this, it might take weeks, days, months before you even get done deploying Operations Manager in a complete way. That's okay in general. You're not going to fully deploy Operations Manager in a day, in a large environment especially. Management packs do require that initial tuning and configuration, and you've already seen that it can take some time for Operations Manager to reflect the status of changes in the environment in the console. So make sure you give the product time to catch up before you just start throwing more work at it. Then centralize your downloads. Install management packs to a common location on your system. Now that may not make sense because you're wondering about installing management packs. How do I do that? Well, we're going to do that soon, and you'll see exactly what I mean by that best practices tip. If you can, test your new management packs in a lab environment. Management packs are software, and it can have bugs. Many management packs have what are called dependencies. These are management packs upon which the management pack you're trying to install depends. So a management pack might look for a rule set from another management pack, and if that management pack doesn't exist, the newer management pack will not work. So basically, without dependencies being installed, newer management packs can't function properly. The nice thing is that Operations Manager will often tell you, hey, there's a dependency here, and here's what the dependency is. Keep it simple. Disable management pack components that you simply don't need. So if you really don't care about monitoring disk space, turn off those counters. Don't worry about having alerts raised in the console for things you don't really care about. And then create overrides to make sure that you're monitoring things the way you need to monitor them for your specific purposes in your organization. The management packs all come with predefined variables that you can change through overrides. And if those variables that come with the management pack do not work for your company, change them to meet your needs. There are a number of different ways that management packs can be added to the Operations Manager environment. First of all, you could build your own management pack from scratch by creating a management pack. In a way, we're going to do that in this course. You're going to create an override management pack, but this is not the same as building your own management pack from scratch that adds new functionality to the system. We will not be building a new management pack in this course, but understand that if you really wanted to, you could build your own management pack from scratch. You can also download management packs from the management pack catalog or from various websites. Now, this does not actually install a management pack inside the Operations Manager environment. We'll go through that process in just a little bit. Or you can import directly from the management pack catalog, which is available online, and it's actually embedded in the Operations Manager console. You can also import a previously downloaded management pack. Either way, this option will install the management pack into the Operations Manager environment. And you're going to see this in action in just a few. Now, we're going to do 3 demonstrations to end this lesson. The first one, we're going to install the Windows File Server Management Pack from the link that you see on your screen. Then we're going to review the health of various Windows objects because I've already installed the Windows Core Services Management Pack. And then we're going to take a look at the Active Directory Management Pack that's also already been installed. And I'm also going to show you a couple of other things while we're over there, just so you can get a better understanding for exactly how Operations Manager operates. So back over to the Operations Manager console we go. Now, to install the Windows File Server Management Packs, there's a lot of different ways I could do this, but I'm going to choose a little bit of a roundabout way for a specific reason that you'll see in just a minute. The first way that I could do it is to right-click Management Packs and choose Download Management Packs. It's going to ask me to what location would I like to download the management packs, and then I'll click the Add button and type File Server. And it's going to ask me about a whole bunch of different things and provide some information. And you can see that it's talking about wanting me to add the File Server Resource Manager Service Management Pack for Windows Server 2008 R2, which that's what I want, as well as the File Server Resource Manager Service Pack Library, which I may or may not need. If I chose this management pack, it would tell me if I needed this one as a dependency. If I was running Windows Server 2012, which I am in some other labs, but not this one, I could choose the File Services 2012 library as well. So I could click this, click Add. Notice it's version 6.0.6600, released on 5/17/2010. And click OK. And download. And at this point, the service pack, or the management pack, will be downloaded to my desktop. But we're going to go a little different route. I've already downloaded the management pack from this location, the URL that I gave you in the PowerPoint slide. And you can see that there are 2 pieces of information here. One is an MSI file, and 2 is a doc file. The MSI file allows you to install the management pack to a location from which you can import it into Operations Manager. It does not actually import it into Operations Manager. And then there's a guide about how to use the management pack. Most management packs do have guides. This is one of the nice parts about first downloading the management pack like this, and then importing it into Operations Manager rather than directly importing it, because you get the guide. But you can see that I've actually already downloaded the management pack. File Services Management Pack for Operations Manager 2007. So I'll double click it to do the installation. Choose Run. It's going to install the C: program files x86, System Center Management Packs, basically the directory you see on your screen. And then I'll do Next. And I'll click the Install button to start the installation. And it was already installed. It was that quick. Now, if I go to that location, you're going to see there's a whole bunch of files here. This is all of the individual management packs that are necessary for the management pack I'm trying to install to operate. And basically you can see that there's an SMB library, an NFS library, File Server Resource Manager, DFS for Windows Server 2003, 2008, 2008 R2. A lot of times the newer management packs have dependencies on the older management packs. And then basically Windows File Services. Before we go any farther though, let me show you what that whole doc file was about that we downloaded as well. Here's a document file that was associated with that management pack, and it's basically a 37-page instruction manual for how to use the management pack. It tells you what's new in the management pack, how to use the management pack, how to import it, how to complete the configuration. So if we go to page 8, so how to import the management pack. Remove any existing management packs that may have DFS associated with them. And it's got 16 management pack files. It's going to tell you to first import the following files which provide objects used by remaining version and role-specific management packs. So import these two first. Windows.fileservices.mp and Windows.fileservices.2008r2.mp. And then we have to complete the management pack configuration. And then it's going to tell you exactly what to do. Allow WMI through Windows Firewall on all monitored computers. Create a new management pack for customizations, which we will do later in this course. Configure how often discovery rules are run. You'll learn about that later in this course too. If you have DFS running in your environment, you can enable the agent proxy setting for servers hosting DFS namespaces. And this tells you how to do that. So there's a lot of really good information in the document files associated with the management packs. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's critical information. So don't ignore it. That said, we're going to go back over to the Operations Manager console now, and we're going to import management packs. So to import a management pack, I'm going to choose Management Packs and then choose Import Management Packs. And I'm going to do Add from Disk. And it's going to tell me that some of the management packs may have dependencies. So I'm going to search the online catalog for these dependencies. I'll say yes, just in the event that I do choose a management, do something that requires an additional dependency that I don't have yet. And these are the two management packs I said to install first. So we'll import those and then do install. And you can see we get a status bar while we're installing the management packs. And remember, these two management packs provide the foundation on which the remaining management packs we're going to import will operate with regard to how file servers run in Windows. And there we go. Both have been imported into Operations Manager. Now we'll import the remaining management packs. And this time we'll just select everything else. And as you might expect, this is going to take a bit of time, so I'm going to pause the video while this operates. And that's all there is to importing all of the management packs that are necessary to support Windows File Services. Once that's done, if we go to the monitoring area, we'll close some of the windows we have open. You're going to notice that there's more than what was here earlier. And that's because I've added a number of management packs already to Operations Manager, including a Windows Server Base Operations Management Pack, as well as Active Directory Management Pack, so we can get some information about how different aspects of our overall environment are operating. And right now what you're seeing on your screen is a logical disk percentage of free disk space. And that's basically telling you how much free disk space there is on each of the monitored servers in the environment. And you can see there's other disks as well that are not being reflected right now in the graph. But I could also add those if I wanted to. But the point is that it lets you see exactly what kind of disk space availability there's been over time. And this also helps you when you start looking at trending. So if you have to start thinking about, well, when am I going to have to add disk space to a particular server? By having this information that you see at your fingertips, you can start looking at historical trends and gaining an understanding for how fast your system is increasing as far as space goes. On your screen, you can see we have a Windows Server state view. And what this is showing you is basically the state of all of the Windows servers that we're monitoring in the Operations Manager environment. Now, if you don't recognize all these server names, that's okay. Some of them are things that have been added just for demonstration purposes in this course, but they're here and being monitored by Operations Manager. And if they have a green arrow, a green check mark, they're good. A gray check mark means, something's not quite right. Warning means there's something definitely not right that you should look at, and an error means, or a critical means, go check things out right now. There's something wrong. And as you can see, our SQL Server does indeed have an error, and if we wanted to, we could try to determine exactly what that error is. And I'll show you how to do that elsewhere in this course, but it's through using what's called Health Explorer, and it's a way that you can very easily determine exactly what errors are being raised on your systems and which rule or monitors are raising those alerts. So you see we have the name of the system, its display name, then we have its IP address, which can be useful if you're trying to troubleshoot something based on the network. And you also get a column that says, is this a virtual machine? And again, that's useful to know too. And Operations Manager, and as well as the virtual machines and everything that's out there, is very virtual machine aware. It knows what workloads are running in a physical environment and which ones are running in virtual environments. And it's important for you to understand that, because fixing a virtual machine or monitoring a virtual machine can be a little different than monitoring a physical machine. Later in this course, you will learn how to monitor a vSphere environment from your Operations Manager environment. But for now, suffice it to say, it's nice to know that these are virtual machines rather than physical ones. And if we look at health monitoring under Windows Server, we can see we have a disk health branch as well. And this is going to give us some information about the state of the disks in the environment. So most of them are healthy. We do have a couple warnings, and we've got one critical. And as we scroll across, we can see how much disk space is available on each of these systems. Right now we've got a terabyte on this system, and each of these has about 127 total gigs of space associated with them, but for some reason this one is critical. And if we look down a little bit further, we have a logical disk alerts window that tells us why we're seeing some critical warnings in the Operations Manager console. And it's telling us a logical free disk space is low. Basically, we're running out of space on that drive. That's bad. That would tell me as an administrator that I need to go add space or clear some files off of the drive so we can get back under a threshold that's within acceptable limits in our environment. By default, Network Adapter Health is not enabled, although you can enable it if you want to. I have. And you can get some information about how the network adapters are functioning in the environment. I should say network adapter performance is not enabled. Network adapter health is. If I go to utilization though, won't see a whole lot because those counters are not enabled by default in the management pack. Likewise, disk performance counters are not enabled by default. These are counters that you can enable, but they add, remember, everything you add from a monitor perspective is going to add additional workload to each of your servers. So for every counter you add, think about the impact on the environment. And disk and network monitors can be particularly intensive, so that's why they're disabled by default. Again, we have our capacity view that we just saw before. And so it becomes pretty easy to see how this whole thing really comes together. If we open up Operations Manager, we get a list of active alerts. Now, the reason we're seeing all these warnings is because I removed computers from the domain, and Operations Manager wants to see them, so it's not that big a deal. We also have the health of our management group that we can see. If we double click it, you can get some details about the items. Going back to Windows servers, we can get some information about memory. Again, if we simply... Now, it's a little hard to see some of these graphs at this really low resolution. But again, it tells you about memory that's been added to the system. Now, we also have a Microsoft Windows Active Directory branch. Again, if you're going to be watching the health of your environment, Active Directory is a pretty critical component. So, we can get information about things like domain controller response time. Is it good? Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. If we're looking at under a millisecond, I'm pretty happy with that. The size of the Active Directory database is another one. This helps you plan for backups and things like that. You can get some information about the amount of processor time that's being used by specific Active Directory services. How much free log space is there? Global catalog response time. And you can get some information about overall memory. For example, committed bytes, available bytes, and pages per second. And if you just want some general information about Active Directory, you're in good shape. And that really completes all 3 demonstrations for this lesson. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.